Glassbrook Elementary School in the San Francisco suburb of Hayward, California, is among the lowest performing institutions in the state and the country as a whole. According to U.S. News, they were ranked 4,151 out of the 5,534 elementary schools in California, with its reading proficiency being at 5,336 and its math proficiency being at 5,282. So in other words, their math and reading scores were well below expectations, and to fix these abysmal scores, they hired Akeia Gross, who is the founder of Woke Kindergarten LLC, according to her LinkedIn. Sorry, their LinkedIn. Wouldn't want to misgender anybody by accident. But anyways, yeah, she describes herself as an abolitionist early educator, innovating ways to unlearn, heal, liberate, and create with their Pedagogy Woke Kindergarten, which includes woke read-alouds like they, she, he, easy as ABC, focusing on importance of affirming people's identities, as well as why it'd be a better place if we abolished the police, why the countries would be better if we got rid of borders altogether, why the world would be so much better if we defunded and abolished every military, and how the world would be better if schools were non-existent. Now, before we go any further, I just want to confirm that you heard and saw that correctly. She was hired to supposedly, or they were hired, to supposedly improve these students' scores in school, yet she's advocating for no schools. A program that the school sunk $250,000 worth of federal funds into, only for outcomes to have worsened 3 years into its implementation, as the math and English proficiency dropped to 4% and 12% respectively. Something that most people were not very surprised about, but I think one of the tragic parts of this is that this is a low-income school, with around 2/3 of the students having English as a second language and 80% around being Hispanic. So I doubt many of them went to school to learn how to become more woke, what pronouns to use, or why America is so terrible. So terrible, in fact, that she says it has no right to exist. Check this out.
Yes, everyone, the rumors are true. I am anti-Israel. I am pro-Palestine. And I am 100% 10 toes down anti-Israel. I believe Israel has no right to exist. I believe the United States has no right to exist. I believe every settler colony who has committed genocide against native peoples, against indigenous people, has no right to exist. I believe in a free Palestine, from the river to the sea. I believe one day Palestine will be free. Is this news to anybody? White supremacy destroys for the sake of destruction. Abolition destroys for the sake of creation. We are not the same. I have an unwavering respect for children, an unwavering love and care and compassion for children, a commitment to children and to their freedom, to their learning, to their lives, to sustaining their lives. Y'all are the demons. Y'all are the villains. We've been trying to end y'all, get free of y'all.
Okay, so a few things to comment on. Number one, she said that anybody who colonized an indigenous people has no right to exist. I mean, then what the heck is she doing here?
Who put you on the planet? Ugh.
I mean, by that logic, neither her nor her ancestors would have a right to exist. And it's scary because we're seeing a growing number of activists that garner mainstream support and then are put in a position of power to teach children. As an example, this teacher who felt the need to discuss gender and pronouns with their 8-year-old students, this teacher here who felt the need to teach her students about critical race theory, white violence, and white guilt. And then there was this teacher who took it too far and made her white students apologize to their black students for their skin color. People like this see the world through a one-sided lens, and then they make it their sole life purpose to indoctrinate these young, malleable students into buying into their biased ideology. And this very much feeds into the teachings of Paulo Freire, someone who's one of the most influential in the educational world. Native of Brazil, he sought to eradicate illiteracy among colonized people, and one of his most famous works is Pedagogy of the Oppressed, in which he is heavily critical of the banking system of education, where education, instead of actually teaching, becomes the act of depositing and the students merely receive, memorize, and repeat the information. And also, that there is no such thing as a neutral education process. Education either functions as an instrument that is used to facilitate the integration of the younger generation into the logic of the present system and bring about conformity to it, or it becomes the practice of freedom, the means by which men and women deal critically and creatively with reality and discover how to participate in the transformation of their world. And that's very much how our education system is today. You're expected to be force-fed these beliefs that you just accept at face value, and mix that with these radical activists, and you get a bunch of students thinking that America is inherently oppressive. Now, my next gripe with her is that she says that she respects these students, but if she truly did, she would care that they become more proficient in English and math, because they really need that to survive in the world growing up. And she would realize that many of these pupils see the world through a different lens, and that should be totally fine. But she doesn't value their freedom, because freedom is not having somebody's personal beliefs shoved down your throat. And that's an overarching theme with her, is hypocrisy.
You're a hypocrite.
Because as she's spewing this anti-American rhetoric, she conveniently leaves the fact that the only reason she can say stuff like this is because she lives in this country. To me, that's just so ungrateful. And another case in point here is that woke kindergarten is a for-profit business, so she's benefited from this capitalistic society to the nth degree. The same way that organizations like BLM benefited immensely off of George Floyd's death. Now, you would think that after all this, the school district would come together and denounce her and let her go, but instead they defended her actions. As the superintendent told them that it was more about increasing attendance than improving test scores, as well as helping students feel safe and whole, while acknowledging that it was more money than they had hoped to spend, but in a typical virtue signaling fashion, just had to reiterate that he's 100% in favor of abolishing systems of oppression. Now, the funny thing is that he said that they should pick providers based on their work and how effective they are, but if by effective means how well they've brainwashed their student body, then yes, they were very much successful. And it's kind of scary because it's almost as if they're not even trying to hide the fact that they measure success more on how well they've wokeified their students rather than teaching them the essential subjects. And it's kind of ironic because they talk about dismantling systems of oppression, but in reality, this sort of indoctrination is another form of oppression, which in the end will make their lives 100 times worse. And once that reality sets in, how much they've been hurt by this system, it'll be a tough pill to swallow, because in the end, reality always wins. And all we can hope for is that more parents save their kids from this system. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel, hopefully I've earned a subscription. Here's some videos for you to watch in the meantime. Until next time, peace out.